Today I'm going to be talking about generalized anxiety disorder, its core features, and why a diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder has very little to do with anxiety itself. Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about generalized anxiety disorder, which is one of the most common anxiety disorders out there, and some of its core features, and why generalized anxiety disorder as a diagnosis has very little to do with assessing levels of anxiety. But before I get into that, just a couple of disclaimers to go over. I'm a registered psychologist in the province of British Columbia, Canada, and this video is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute or replacement for advice from your doctor or mental health professional. Now, with those two things out of the way, let's start talking about generalized anxiety disorder. So generalized anxiety disorder is an extremely common anxiety disorder, an extremely common type of anxiety that people will often experience. And for a lot of people, they've heard about generalized anxiety disorder, but they often think that generalized anxiety disorder primarily has to do with feeling generally anxious. Now, this is one of the things that tends to happen with these psychological diagnoses is that people take the term of the diagnosis and then assume that that has everything to do, or the entire characteristics of the diagnosis are explained by the name of the diagnosis. So for people, they often think that generalized anxiety disorder is when a person is generally anxious. And that's not necessarily the case. So what I'm going to be doing in today's video is talking about the core features of generalized anxiety disorder and helping you understand what generalized anxiety disorder is and what it looks like. At the heart of generalized anxiety disorder, the primary feature of GAD is excessive, difficult to control worry about a range of topics. So it's when a person experiences a lot of worry about a lot of different things and has difficulty managing or controlling the worry about those various topics. So the scope of the worries is really important. So for example, some people may worry about specific things in particular. So if all of my worries revolve around social situations, for example, and so I have lots of worry about various social situations, and because I have social situations occur a lot in my life, then I'm going to be anxious a lot. Well, that's not generalized anxiety disorder. Even though I'm worrying a lot, even though I'm feeling that difficult to control worry, and that the worry is happening in various areas of my life, because the worry centers around a singular topic, which is those social situations, it's not necessarily generalized anxiety disorder. Something like that would be more along the lines of social anxiety disorder. If I worry excessively and I have difficult to control worry about my health and my physical condition, that's not generalized anxiety disorder. If all I'm worrying about is topics related to my health, that would be health anxiety. So generalized anxiety disorder is when a person worries about a lot of different topics, has difficulty controlling those worries about a lot of different topics, and the worries are excessive or disproportionate to what's actually going on for them. Now, the worries in generalized anxiety disorder are chronic. And what that means is I'm not worrying about this stuff excessively for a month or two. For a diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder, that worry has to be at least 6 months of excessive, difficult to control worry on an almost daily basis. Now, for a lot of people that I work with who come into my office seeking help for generalized anxiety disorder, it's not uncommon for them to say, you know what, I've been a worrier my whole life. This isn't just something that's come on in the last half year, last 6 months. This is something that I've been dealing with my whole life. I just thought it was part of my personality. So the worry in generalized anxiety disorder tends to be chronic. It's ongoing. It's not just something a person experiences for brief periods at a time. Now, associated with this chronic worry, there can be a variety of other symptoms. So things like restlessness or feeling keyed up or on edge, kind of like I got this nervous energy all the time. It's hard for me to ever settle down, hard for me to ever feel sort of calm or relaxed. I can experience irritability. So my fuse just gets shorter. It's little things set me off because I'm just kind of that being on edge like that for all the time. It can make me feel more sort of irritable or easily angered. Difficulty sleeping is something that's very common in people who have generalized anxiety disorder. So oftentimes it's their worries tend to kick in at night just before they're trying to go to bed, and they start to think about the next day, and the worries just either interfere with them falling asleep, or they wake up in the middle of the night worrying about something and have difficulty falling back asleep. People can experience fatigue. Now, this fatigue can be fatigue on a couple of levels. Fatigue because they're so tense all the time that they feel physically kind of exhausted and fatigued, but they can also experience mental fatigue or mental exhaustion because the mind never shuts off. It's always thinking about something. It's always worrying about something. So you get this fatigue both on a physical level and a cognitive level. And the fatigue can also be caused in part by difficulty sleeping. If you're not sleeping very well, you're going to be experiencing fatigue and tiredness during the day as well. Another common symptom that you see in generalized anxiety disorder is muscle tension. And now people can experience muscle tension either in their shoulders, into their neck. People with generalized anxiety disorder often experience headaches and other sort of vague physical symptoms stemming from this muscle tension. This muscle tension can also contribute to that fatigue that I was talking about all the time. It's kind of like you're always in this state of tension and nervousness, and it's difficult to relax because of the restlessness. And so you can get this muscle tension and that can contribute to headaches and other vague physical symptoms, which often causes people to wonder if there's something physically wrong with them, because they notice that they've been having frequent headaches, or they're just feeling just tense all the time, or their back hurts, and they wonder if there's something physically wrong. And so people often go and see their doctor with these vague physical complaints. The doctor will do all sorts of tests and examinations and finds that there's nothing physically underlying these physical symptoms, and then is left to wonder, okay, what's going on? And the uncertainty of that can also drive and fuel the worry and the generalized anxiety disorder itself. A final common symptom in generalized anxiety disorder is difficulty concentrating and difficulty maintaining focus. And this is in part because, like I mentioned earlier, your mind's always going. Your mind's always thinking about a worry. You're thinking about what could go wrong. So it's difficult to maintain your focus and your attention on a topic or a project because your mind's always being distracted by this background noise of worry that's going on. So those are the core features of generalized anxiety disorder. It's excessive, difficult to control worry about a range of topics, and it can be associated with any of these 6 other symptoms. So restlessness, irritability, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, muscle tension, and difficulty sleeping. Now notice, none of that actually references anxiety, because anxiety isn't a diagnostic feature of generalized anxiety disorder. Anxiety is the emotional result of worry, excessive worry, which is the core feature of generalized anxiety disorder. So, generalized anxiety disorder is more than just feeling anxious. It's this worry, this chronic worry, and all of these other symptoms and difficulties that a person has as a result of that chronic worry. So I hope that helps give you a better sense of what generalized anxiety disorder is, some of the core features and characteristics of it. If you want to learn more about generalized anxiety disorder or worry management, I've got a variety of videos about GAD and worry management skills on my channel, so I hope you'll check them out. If you've been enjoying my videos and are interested in seeing more, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll be alerted every week when I post a new video. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.